This first set is dead even.
Unbelievable combination.
Wow.
Beautifully done.
What a great spot.
Hello and welcome to the 2025-26 APTA Tour. We're live from the Weston Golf Club in Weston, Massachusetts, bringing you the 2026 Boston Open APTA Grand Prix with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsor, Corient. Tournament support has also been provided by the following local tournament sponsors: Platinum sponsor Pure Hockey, Gold sponsors Labor, Worcester Air Conditioning, Bully Boy Distillers, Weston Golf Club, Scott, Silver sponsors Aon or EUS Management, Corient, Miller & Company, MGS Group, Surfside Vodka Drinks, Win Stanley Enterprises, and bronze sponsors Corcoran and Haviland Insurance Group, Narragansett Beer, and Xenon Paddle. I'm Brad Easterbrook alongside Dave Broderick, bringing you men's final round action between our number 1 seeds of Regalado and Salazar and the number 3 seeds of Nunez and Powers. And before we really get into the match, we got tournament director Drew Sawyer about to give us a little presentation here. He's getting set up. You can see him there on the court, fiddling around with his phone. I believe he's going to jam some entry music, and there you see our players on the live stream there. Alvy Regalado, Short Hills Club director, and his partner, Jose Salazar, is the director at the Stanwich Club, currently the number 1 ranked team in the country, against Guillermo Nunez and Mark Powers, last year's finalists in Nationals. And Nunez and Powers were able to beat Regalado and Salazar earlier this season and in the semifinals last year of Nationals. So this is a great matchup between heavyweights. I think Drew Sawyer is ready to go. Enter Sandman.
Welcome to the men's final 2026 Boston Open. Hell yeah. Woo! Woo! Yeah. Woo! All right. We have the number 1 team in the country. Ranked 1, Alvy Regalado and Jose Salazar. These guys are on a tear. They've played 5 tournaments together. They've won 4, lost in the finals in 1. Who did they lose to? Their opponents tonight, the 2024 national champions, Guillermo Nunez and Mark Powers, who's a 2-time national champion. These guys have had a great tournament. They've survived an incredibly difficult draw, and they're here tonight in balmy Boston. Let's have a great match, guys. Play well.
Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. Drew Sawyer with Enter Sandman, bringing a little showmanship here to the Boston Open as they wheel off that screen there and that speaker. That was a great intro. And as he mentioned, Nunez and Powers did beat Regalado and Salazar in their only tournament loss this season. They're pretty much flawless. These guys know each other really well, and it's a great matchup. Wonder if we have Dave Broderick on the broadcast yet? All right, not yet. So hopefully he'll be in soon. If not, I'm going to carry your way through. Again, I'm Brad Easterbrook, and this is going to be one of the best matchups there is out there. You know, the top 3 teams in the country have definitely sort of separated themselves. And as we march towards the Nationals here, this is going to be a great test. It's sort of like where everybody's kind of setting themselves up for that last run. Nationals, of course, March 6th through 8th. And we have 2 more Grand Prix to go. All right, so you can see tournament director Nikola Bubnik's out there. Jake, who do we have in the chair for this one? All right, Peter Espo. Of course. All right, he's up there doing yeoman's work in the chair, and of course they got the heated seats for him. Not easy to be up there, and basically feels like 0 degrees. So Regalado Salazar have brought their games from, last season to this season. They started out with just a completely consistent game where they were bait guys who just volley well and sort of play in the middle of the court. But they have added cutters, they've added rollers to the nick, and many more offensive tools to the game. So they're putting pressure on in more ways. In the past, they didn't really apply a lot of pressure at the net. They sort of waited out teams and just would never miss volleys and would get them actually into a tough state where they tried to overplay, and then they would use that against them. Powers and Nunez have a specific skill set that is very damaging. They can have offense in the backcourt, they have dink and blitz, and they have attacking plays as well. And it matches up well with Salazar and Regalado. So this is going to be an interesting matchup here, and both teams can play fast, both teams can play slow. I think a lot of it's just going to come down to execution and how well they go. Nunez and Powers have been on a really good roll. They played a great match in the semifinals, great match in the quarterfinals, and got here comfortably. A little more work for Regalado and Salazar, but still, these guys have been doing what they need to do, and you see them try a little practice cutter there. Let's do a quick look at the players on the court. On your top left of your screen, all right, is Jose Salazar. It's tough to get everybody out there because everybody's bundled up. So cold out there. They got a good look at Jose Salazar, again, director at the Stanwich Club in Greenwich, Connecticut. His partner, Alvy Regalado. As we pan over to him, just tremendous talent. He's got the beige hat. Otherwise, they're going to dress the same. So it's hard to tell them apart, but the beige hat will be a good indicator for you. And as we go around the horn to the back, and we got Guillermo Nunez on the bottom right of your screen, and he's thankfully wearing a different color. Nice little beige there. The lefty, tremendous volleys, tremendous hands. He's got power and all the touch you need, and tremendous cut overhead, which has been very effective in this cold weather. And of course his partner in the all blue there, Mark Powers, one of the best forehands in the game and one of the most versatile forehands in the game. He hits it hard, he flattens it out. Then with the same type of motion, he spins the ball up and in. And it's a very, very tough effect. He also has moved to the sidewire. So, like I said, this is a heavyweight battle, and it's going to be a good one for everyone out there. Things that are going to be interesting are, this cold weather has made it so that it's warm enough to make the ball work a little bit, but it's not flying off the screen. So you can take heavy risks at a long, low cut or a heavy roller into the screens without as much fear of the ball flying off the back screen and getting tattooed by the opponents. So we're probably going to see a lot of that, and aggressive rollers into the nick or into the corners because it won't fly off, and and because of that, you don't get that high forehand comeback, which is the danger of going for these offensive shots. So when you go for the big offense or the pressure roller, on the other side of it is when you don't execute, you can get burned with big drives. It's kind of mitigated a little bit today, so we're going to see a lot of that, I'm guessing, in this match. And that is, like I said, I think it's simply a question of execution. I'm going to imagine that Regalado and Salazar are either going to do two ways, and mix the pace, go hard into the corners as much as possible, trying to get it in there, or they might try completely slow playing this, like dumping the ball slow and easy in there and making sort of Nunez kind of power drive them. Nunez is phenomenal in almost all respects, but he likes to be able to play off of pace as well. Think the ball, blitz, and all of those things. And he can supply power on his own drive, but it's usually the better way for you to try to get him to beat you. And as I said, it's going to be all about execution. Again, Peter Espo up there in the chair. All right. Well, still looking for possibly Dave Broderick, hopefully joining us. If not, we're going to bring in some local legends here. Got Leo Power on my left side here. The big cat. One of the quickest guys out there still in the Boston leagues, to give us some insight as well. All right. It looks like Salazar has got the ball. Guessing they're going to be leading off here in this match as players make their final preparations. And cannot say enough about the job that Drew Sawyer, Ola Bubnik has done here to put this tournament on. Women's final is going on another live stream court, and tremendous 3-set battle between Halbauer and Zabori against Elliott and Lalich. And these guys are just playing phenomenal paddle. So here we are. All right, we are underway. And that is Jose Salazar to serve. And when he walks over, he's having a last-minute conference, Guillermo Nunez, with his partner Mark Powers. He'll be coming over to return. All right, we are underway. Peter Espo in the chair. Let's go, men's final. All right, very effective with the dipping drives. And as I said, execution is really going to be, I think, where this is going to come down to. This is that drive. Makes that one, finds a good spot on a dipping ball, and the ball is heavy today. That seemed like it was a pretty routine volley, but you mishit it at all, and it's going to drop off your paddle. I think that ball hit the seam. Sort of ate up Powers over there. You expect them to make that, so most of the time when that happens, the ball's taking a different move. Great shot. You can hear sort of this din in the background, and that is the party that's going on. You know, I'm here in the paddle hut. This place is filled. They got some amazing sponsors out here, Bully Boy and Narragansett and Surfside supplying. It's just all adult beverages. And as this party goes on and the barbecue heats up, people are going to enjoy this tremendous paddle before the storm tomorrow. That's a nice dipper. Powers coming in to try to blitz. Too good on the defense at the net. Powers dig it. Great job. Late to the party, but what great athletic move. Sets his paddle down, changes his grip, gets it flat. All right, great shot. Forehand volley, catches him twice, and both end up in errors. 30 all. Big forehand. Nunez wants that back. It was right in his strike zone. Just hits it a little long. And good leave there from Salazar. Ball's a little high. Woo! All right, so our first sudden death game here. And, of course, the scoring on the men's side, he's waiting. Powers, they're going to Mark Powers. And they're going that way. And, of course, he just blisters a big forehand in there. They're going to have to defend now from the back. He's looking good early with that cut forehand. Now, this has been the interesting thing with the spinners is you watch Nunez go to work here with some cuts. A lot of times when he cuts around the outside and down, the ball will break back in the opposite direction, and players at this level know it's going to do that, so they get ready to do it. But because of the cold weather, the ball is sometimes flattening out and not compressing enough to kick back, so it's making it hard on these tough low cutters to really read. That's right in the crease, and that's going to be too good. And I got to tell you, Salazar has gotten so good at that shot. When he's lining it up, that is on purpose, and that is right there. What a money ball. All right, and we got a little sub in here. And it's Master Tournament Director Drew Sawyer joining us in on the live broadcast. Drew, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for joining.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on this broadcast with the legendary Brad Easterbrook.
Well, thank you so much, Drew. So, Drew, you know, actually, while I got you here, tell me about the work you had to put in just to put this on. And you've been doing this for years now.
Well, it's a labor of love. We got a great tournament staff, but, you know, it really comes down to money. If you can raise the sponsor dollars, and we've had some unbelievable sponsors, it just gives you the funds to put everything together for the fans and, you know, for the players. So it's gone well this year. We've actually set a record. We raised over 50 grand from our sponsors this year. That's the most. And, you know, that gives us the prize money for the top players, and it gives us the funds to run everything. Like, we've got free food and free drink, and it's great. Everyone's having fun despite the temperatures.
Yeah, well, you guys have put on a tremendous show out here, so it shows in the fan enjoyment and the players as well. Everybody loves coming out to this. And I'm going to ask you one more quick question here, and then we'll get right back to the match here, as these guys are going to keep battling for a long time. We're going to see some of the highest skill sets out in the game. And by the way, I'll get to it quickly, but you can see Powers on the point before he dumped the ball behind. So the balls that get behind you today are problematic because of the cold. You know, so you're going to have to watch that as this goes on. But today we also had in the draw Johan Durant and Stephen Mitchell, which was just a great homecoming. You know, these guys are, you know, legends of the game. And how special was it to have them in the draw, and what have they meant to Boston Paddle?
Well, there's no doubt that they, well, first Johan, right? He's won many national championships with 3 different players, and he was definitely the guy who turned around the Boston Open. He took over as tournament director when he became the head pro here at Weston Golf Club, and it went from, I would say, an also-ran to a great tournament. And he was the catalyst to start that. And then when he and Mitchell came together, it was great for this area. Great for this area to have champions. So paddle's booming in the Boston area.
That's tremendous to hear, and it was so fun to have them out here for this tournament. You know, I was talking to a bunch of people. There were a number of national champions in this draw. We had Gabby Nicolescu, Marcelo Rodezno on the other side. So just kudos to you guys for putting on one of the best events of the year.
Yeah, we actually had one of my favorite women players, Vicky.
Stoklasova was in there as well, yes.
Yeah, she's a Boston Open champion. And actually one of my favorite matches or champions of the Boston Open was when it was kind of the coming out party for Hughes and Powers when they won the Boston Open years ago. And that was before they became champs.
All right, so 30-15 now, Regalado Salazar as we get to this match. So how do you see this one?
Well, I think it's really tough to call. I think that when Nunez and Powers are on their game, it's a lot. But if there's a team that can handle what they bring with all the spin and all the placement and all the power, it's obviously Regalado and Salazar. I mean, look, Regalado Salazar won. That's a crazy point.
Yeah, that's a crazy volley there from Powers. He does it frequently. You think you have the offense, and he just stands there and he basically just slaps it behind. His hands are so quick up there.
Is the game in slow motion for him?
I mean, it's pretty impressive stuff, and you do have to respect it to a degree because it changes the way you think about certain things. I do not fault in one way, shape, or form Regalado going with an offensive shot there.
No way.
He just got burned, you know, but it does give you pause, and those are the things. Look, there's a reason why these teams have separated themselves as the top 3 teams in the country. And believe me, these guys love playing against each other. This is what they're looking for. You know, these are the challenges they're all trying to step up. And, you know, I was talking about it in the semifinal round. You know, for Regalado Salazar, this is sort of like the one team that's been, if anything, close to kryptonite, because basically they're running at a 98% win rate, and the few, if only, losses they have are against Nunez and Powers, right?
The first 7 games of the semifinals, you thought Regalado and Salazar were going down, and they won, 10, 11 straight games? Like, once they turn it on, how do you beat these guys? I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, we're going to find out.
It's crazy.
Because it's not that many people who've done it, but Nunez and Powers have been, a couple of them who have. So,
well, Regalado Salazar have lost one time all year, and it was to Nunez Powers.
Correct.
And not a Grand Prix when they lost. It was a regular tour event, but these guys are really close to each other. That's a crazy move by Jose.
Yeah, but he just one time that Powers made a poor choice on it. He thought he had some purchase over his net, but he read that. He was inside, almost to the service line when Powers hit that. Easy dunk and a great move from Salazar, who reads it. And he reads it because Powers takes the ball up high, which means he can only do 2 things. Hit it down or push it sort of high and deep. Either way, moving forward is a good move. So 2-love now for Regalado Salazar, and a great start for them.
This is a good time to thank my sponsor, Bully Boy, while I take a sip here.
You absolutely can thank them any way you want and anytime you want. They're a great product and a great sponsor. And we'll have a lot of sponsors to be talking about throughout. All right, there's a huge forehand look for Mark Powers. Just nets it.
Did you notice how Powers missed that one forehand into the tape and then immediately smacked us another forehand on the return, just not unfazed by one error, just like knows his game and knows he can just rip it like there.
Yeah, everything is.
That's crazy.
I mean, he's got multiple skill sets, but everything centers around the forehand, and he has complete confidence in it. The low cutter is the play today. That one just came back and played beautifully. Right at the crease. Look at him change his grip to a flat. Can he dig it? He does. And these guys defend so well. This will be, if they keep this up, this will be a big moment for them to, because this is where they're going to, if they can make it so they don't get the pressure on them and keep defending. Powers and
just
Nunez
great transition play here.
Will miss an overhead, or possibly. Yeah, this is perfect defense. And there you go. And there's, yep.
You're a savant.
That's why I get paid the big bucks, Drew,
It's impressive.
That's it. So anyway.
Does sarcasm come over the broadcast?
It does, thickly. All right, Regalado Salazar continuing to cruise here.
Brad, it looks like Regalado Salazar are starting out hot here in this match.
They are indeed. Dave Broderick, a mystery man from the dead. We had a pool going. How you doing, buddy? Everything good?
I'm doing well, thank you. Everything's well. Everything's well.
All right, welcome to the broadcast. And Dave Broderick joining us remotely with Regalado and Salazar having a 2-love, 30-love lead. And just playing really good defense at this point. And then following up with good spot moves, but really great defense. At this point, they've had a lot more success in their previous matches, Nunez and Powers, with their offense and putting the pressure on, and it seems like they're nonplussed, Regalado Salazar.
I'll tell you what, Brad, in the semifinal match of Regalado Salazar, Grigorovich and Ostojic came out hot. They were up 5-1 in the first set, and it was really the defense of Regalado Salazar that got him back in the match and ultimately led him to winning the first set.
Yeah, and, it's something you can build on. We talk about all the skill sets there, and that's just a great move. You see a heavy pressure position there from Nunez, but when you pressure yourself like that, if the return does not go to the incoming player, you can volley behind. You see it right there, perfect volley, just stuffs it.
Hey, took a chance.
3-love, and it's time to talk about one of your great sponsors, Drew Sawyer, and that is Pure Hockey. And Pure Hockey, they are cutting-edge fitness technology, unmatched selection, and the #1 destination for players of every level. So check out Pure Hockey for all your hockey needs. And those guys I know have been great friends and friends to the tournament as well.
They're big fans of paddle, and Pure Hockey started with like 1 or 2 stores in Massachusetts and is now the largest hockey retailer nationwide.
Amazing.
And they love paddle, so it's really helpful.
Well, kudos to you guys to establishing these relationships. It makes all the difference in the world. All right, so a hot start here for Nunez and Power for Regalado Salazar with great defense, and it's almost like they're playing into the defense, harder and harder and faster. Dave, I think
there's some strategy going on right now.
Oh no, they're trying to figure out what pace and what they want to do with this stuff. They're still going to hit their shots, but it's as if they're playing into the play. And I think that first game, that was a sudden death deuce game that Regalado and Salazar won. It sort of carried over from that point, and it's almost like Nunez and Powers tried to get it like all right back right away instead of just building each individual point.
It's the essence of paddle. 1 point can really swing a mo.
I think, Brad, do you think just the style that Nunez and Powers plays, kind of high-paced, high-risk, they get a lot out of it, they win a lot of points. Do you think maybe the, Regalado Salazar game plan and the style that they play of slowing it down a little bit more could frustrate Nunez and Powers?
Well, it certainly can. And there's no question that it can frustrate probably anybody. And they have the ability to play fast or slow. Regalado Salazar can pretty much do it all. And they were playing slow in the beginning of their careers almost exclusively. Now they've added a ton of pressure and fast play to their game, and it's really made them version 2.0. The hard rollers at the nick, the rollers behind, and they can do it all. But you're making a great point, but Nunez and Powers are the team with the most success out of anybody against Regalado Salazar.
Right.
So whatever way it works, their offensive game is one that possibly can damage them.
I'll tell you another interesting dynamic with this matchup is Regalado Salazar and Nunez often play with each other in interchanging partnerships throughout the season.
Yep. Yeah, they do, and they know each other so well. Oh, big backhand. Just missed it.
Rare miss.
Is that what you say when you miss a drive? Drew, rare miss.
Undefeated in warm-ups.
Undefeated. It's a part of the game. You should get a point or something for that. Your PTI should get lowered if you win the warm-up. Oh, he's got him backing away. Good athletic
so
move.
Quick.
Ooh, little let cord. That's going to help. They right the ship. Yeah, I expect to see a little more rollers. I love the roller play.
You think it makes a difference, Brad, especially in the cold weather with the ball a little bit heavier, staying lower?
Yeah, I think balls that you're keeping low and not hitting from high to low are better out here today, and you're going to get more effect from them. Unless you can get a slow-paced ball like into the screen behind a guy, that's a great shot there. See, that's a tough ball, right? He lets it drop, cuts it long through the court. Now, that said, making those shots consistently are completely predicated. You see a great replay there on your opponent's giving you a short enough lob. You lob well, get this guy to the service line, and no matter what the weather, you're going to be all right. Big third panel waterfall there from Powers. Just played so well there by Salazar. You see Regalado Salazar switching, and they stay this way a lot. They don't just switch back.
Has Salazar's backhand sort of succeeded the Mark Parsons backhand as sort of the biggest backhand in the game?
I mean, Parsons doesn't play anymore. I think there's a difference to it. He's got a big backhand, there's no question. I don't think it's at the level where people, when Parsons was at the top of his game, would make a rule when Parsons was in the deuce court to, if you think you can hit it there, just don't. Right?
Avoid it
You
like
know,
the
and
plague.
I don't think we're there yet for Salazar. He's got a great backhand. There's no question about it, and he does damage with it. There was a certain kind of variety to the Parsons backhand too.
Yeah, he took it early, took it on the rise often.
But he could roll it flat. So it's a tough call, but look, these guys in 3 short years done nothing but, build a legend, really. Clearly I can't imagine a world where they don't win multiple nationals.
They want it bad.
They haven't won one yet, but I can't imagine them not winning multiples.
Wow.
Oh, Powers goes
He went
hard,
for
but
the tag.
yeah, he's going at the body, and that's strictly what he went for. Just, out of the way. They saw it coming, too, so he didn't even try to volley. He just got out of the way. Smart play. Oh, that's such a
too
good
good.
serve.
Oh, that's
Vintage
classic,
Powers move.
classic, yeah.
Vintage Powers move. Classic up the side wire. The guy's taking the ball high. He's moving while he's doing it. You got to
short
let up.
backswing, just times it.
Yeah, just tattoos it. And it's almost like when you're hitting it, you think you can get it there, right? You think you can get it by him. And you can get it once in a while. But like we said, all of these guys that have established themselves at this level have done so because they have things that are special. They make them more than anyone else. And that's one of the things that Powers does so well. They make one more volley. They're pretty much on balance. You watch a match that somebody who's lost in a round of 16, they're doing a lot of similar things. It's just not quite as many gets. It's not quite as many drives. They don't have the touch. It's just one or two little things. It's the things that make it special that really separate these guys and make all the difference in the world.
Brad, I think the other dimension that Powers adds over there, not only climbing up that side screen to set up the forehand, he also has the ability to sort of lay low and let you try to get the ball to his backhand, and then he pulls out that big two-hander.
Yeah, he's got that as well. It's certainly not the big weapon, but he's got it, and he wins points with it. That's wide.
Wow.
And well, I think at this point, that's huge for them. They just
And this
need a
is
couple
big,
of errors.
big point in the set.
Yeah, we got our second sudden death point here. First one won by Regalado Salazar. That's going right at the nick. These guys are taking aim. Good high lob. I love that. Powers crushes, sets up Nunez, who goes around him for the
I think he
winner.
hit him.
Great play, and
Wow. What
there
a
we
momentum
go.
swing. Now we got a set.
Yeah, well, it would have been a big moment to go down 4-1, and that's a good comeback there.
Did he hit him? I
Powers.
couldn't quite see.
I think he just got around him,
Yeah.
and he couldn't make a play going back trying to get out of the way. So great play there from Nunez Powers in a big moment. And it's always interesting. Sometimes, they're going for the serve over the Powers corner because he's got a better, bigger serve into the ad court than he does in the deuce. It's hard for them to not set up a drive. But as good as Nunez forehand is, Powers forehand's bigger, right? So they're playing what they think is strength against strength. And honestly, it could go either way, I guess. And in that way, Powers' big drive set up the rest of that point. You see Nunez come in there and is cleaning up the mess. What I was surprised about, Dave, was that they didn't bail or play one position. You could see he was sort of like in between. Am I getting out of here, or am I going, or am I playing the line? He didn't really play the line, and he didn't really get out of there. And ultimately, that's kind of what burned him, because I think they could have gone back. They could have gone back.
Hey, Brad, I just want to remind Drew, I want to remind everyone out there that Corian is the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 2025-2026 season. Corian is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at Corian.com.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Another one of our terrific sponsors, the year-round sponsor for the APTA, Corient.
Curran had a great pro-am on Thursday before the tournament, and weather was a lot better that night.
I like this from Nunez Powers. They're not forcing a tough overhead. Like if it's too deep, they're just pushing it back now. This is smart. Wait for the right ball to start the attack. Yeah, something you can go at the nick with. These are good attacking balls, but they're not forced. For me, it felt like there was a moment where they were forcing the attacking overheads. And that's just a miss, but it was the right shot.
And a lot of time when you try attacking or forcing that shot into the side screen, you're really just kind of setting up. You're setting up the baseline team for opportunity.
All right, there you see a quick move from Nunez trying to poach that ball just out of his zone. See, that's a decent roller attack, and again, great defense. So quick. Like to see that one go at the crease. And again, perfect defense. Slow it back down again. You got nothing with those attacking ones.
I'll tell you, Nunez and Powers are, using much more spin than we've watched in some previous matches today. They're really kind of cutting that ball up, and you see they're not winning putting the ball away, as we often sometimes see, but the spin is creating some, fits for Regalado Salazar, and it's getting Nunez and Powers some points.
Yeah, it certainly got them a lot of points in their semifinal match against McNerney and Morgan. There's the big backhand. Powers can't come up with that. He makes more of those kind of jumpy forehand gets, and sometimes he even puts them away than I've seen anybody. There's a replay from that big, huge point. All right, so 40-15 now. Regalado Salazar breaking right back, possibly, after losing that sudden deuce game. Going at the crease, 2 in a row there. Can't quite find it, but good moves. That's going to get, I thought he was going to tattoo that one.
Oh, wow. They just couldn't consolidate the break. They got back into the set.
Yeah, it's just too many loose errors.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just too many loose balls at this point. And, it's all said and done. I mean, Dave, do you see anything they should do differently, or should they just clean up what they're doing?
I think all these teams, when you get to the finals, it's not really about making match adjustments. These guys have played one another quite a bit. They play with each other. I think mostly, and we talked about this earlier on with Russell Bentheim, that everybody kind of plays the same style. It just comes down to who makes the fewer mistakes at the end of the day at this level.
Yeah, I agree with that, but there's definitely adjustments that people can make. Stop hitting, you've been making plays and playing balls to certain parts of the court. In this case, it's just misses.
It's just, they just have to clean things up a little bit. Like you see right there, return a serve error to start the game.
Right into his paddle. Great close, and they right the ship. A couple good looks there for Nunez Powers, but great volleying there. And of all the volleys they've made, that might have been one of the easier ones, but he catches them because of the change of pace. He hits an up roller.
That's what I was going to say. He kind of he pulled the string on that one a little bit, took a little bit off it.
And truth be told, those 2 misses from Nunez, he hit every one of those shots in the last match. He just didn't miss any of them. He's missing a couple of them here, And it's just little micro things. I mean, there's 3, just errors.
Right.
It's like they work so hard to get back in the set, and then the errors come, and it's like
I mean,
they get on a roll.
These things happen. And at a certain point, some hitters just try to hit their way through it, knowing there's going to be a regression to the mean, and this is going to be a valley, right? And you're going to have to weather it. But then when you get it back, you're going to get a peak again, right? And you're going to win a couple of games in a row, and you're going to work in it. The key is really, managing that whole thing and deciding to yourself, okay, let me slow this down. You can't hit your way through everything, and you can't stop hitting entirely. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be, you got to play the game you have. Well, what a big ball there. Nice waterfall. Love that. Good dig.
Great get.
I think, Brad, to answer your point there, it's one thing to, keep driving and get back your rhythm, but, it's another thing that when you're playing a great team like Regalado Salazar, they're going to take advantage of those. They're going to take advantage of those errors early on.
Heavy roller he goes for and just misses. Look at that crazy get, though from Salazar. And he's looking up at the lights, You're not going to see him whiff that often, but there it was. So 5-2 Regalado Salazar as they're closing in on this first set. And honestly, it's just, like we said, a few less errors. I can't say there's been all bad looks or anything like that. In the match before, they made every one of those shots.
In a way, it's classic Regalado Salazar. They got up, then suddenly it's 3-2 back on serve. You think it's a set. They buckle down, make no errors, couple of loose points, and it's like, now they're in control of the set.
Well, they certainly are. And even when they're up 3-2, I wouldn't have said they were out of control of it. It's just, but that game there was just 4 mistakes.
Exactly.
It wasn't 4, pressure balls from Regalado Salazar. That was just 4 mistakes. That was that they're going to have to just change that. I mean, he took 2 good cuts at a return. He missed 2, missed a rolling shot after they hit a good shot through on the one after, and then a lob out. Oh, great shot there. He catches him off the net, and he catches him with kind of like a mid-pace ball. I think he was expecting something harder or softer. It just gets in behind him.
That's a great example of Salazar just, winning a point off of just sort of a rally ball. I think they didn't expect that drive was coming, and Salazar did a good job of not trying to do too much with it, and just was fortunate that, they won the point on that one, again, on just kind of like a rally ball.
Yeah, and I think part of the day, too, people have different thoughts on these things. Nunez and Powers won their quarterfinals 6-2-1, 6-2, 6-1. And, it was fast-paced. The other team went for a lot and missed a lot. And they were able to just take control and win. They won their next round 6-love, 6-2, and they won their first 10 games. Now, some of that had some tight moments to it towards the end, but really, they just played really good matches, and they've only faced a little bit, today. It seems like Regalado Salazar have had a little more of a run, and for me, I actually think that's a good thing, sometimes. They're a little more like almost matches. Like battle tested on the day. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, not that these teams aren't all battle tested. They clearly are, and they've shown their mettle in a variety of ways in a variety of matches. But I think you understand my point. It seems like they're finally like getting, okay, these guys are getting every ball back. Okay, well, we've been able to just hit the next shot and we'll be right back in it. And now we're hitting the next shot, but we're not making it. We're missing it. You might have to dial it back a little bit, and then find your sweet spot.
They're just not making any errors. I mean,
Regalado
Salazar just not making any errors, and so.
And Powers and Nunez are.
Yeah, and it's wow.
It's a way to dig underneath that ball. Ooh, just creeped over. And interestingly enough, in the Powers and Nunez match in the semifinals too, they were also getting some breaks. You know, let cords even out, but they had about 6 or 7, and it didn't even out. And a couple of them were big moments. And so they had some good fortune, and a lot of times this stuff swings, right? You know, it swings in one direction or another. And there you have a Regalado Salazar with the first set there, 6-2 against Nunez and Powers. And we'll be right back in just a moment after these messages, right here on the APTA YouTube channel with live streaming by Joho and Streambox Labs and match statistics by Court Director, which we'll give you on the way back.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Sitting here figuring.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. I'm Brad Easterbrook alongside Dave Broderick, where our number 1 seeds, the Regalado Salazar, took the first set 6-2 against Nunez and Powers, the 3 seeds. And, yeah, just a tremendous set from those guys, given very little. And Powers and Nunez just making some errors. You know, so you put that recipe out there, and that's what you get, 6-2 set. I know we're in the middle of the point here, but let's get up the Court Director stats, Dave. Let's take a quick look here, see what it was like. Yeah. Regalado Salazar winning 62% of the points, you know, and that's what it looked like, you know. And they won the Sun Deuce games, 1 each, which often could be a determining factor, but they were just on ball, making less mistakes.
And I think out of the 26 points that Regalado Salazar won, you know, you'd have to say there were quite a few unforced errors in there from Nunez and Powers that, you know,
without a doubt,
help get that number up to where it is. And, you know, so let's see again if Nunez and Powers can just, you know, make some more shots, clean up a few of those unforced errors. And, you know, I think we can still see a really good match here.
Yeah, no question. You know, they are hitting a lot more overheads from high to low, I think. That was just in. You know, they could let them drop. See, I like that better, but still, they're part of some of the errors too came after some really good defense. But instead of backing off when they're going attacking shot, it's like they went more attacking shots and then finally made the error. I think at a certain point you put in your attacking sequence, and if they defend it, it's okay to just stop, right? You know, and then just get back to the drawing board. Hit a couple of slow ones. Let's reset this thing. And then we'll get back to it again when we get the right ball. And in some cases, I think they just kept going at it, and they ended up making an overhead error or something like that. And all kudos to the team that can defend the first bunch. But, you know, this team can defend with the best of them. They might even be, you know, they're definitely one of the best defensive teams in the country for sure. Truth to be told, Nunez and Powers could be that, but they're always looking for more offense. You know, if they decided to just never miss, they could do it. And there you have another one. It's just an error. You know, but they defended the first 30, and they're not. The problem is they're not getting anything else. Like, it's not like one's leading to another where he's a little bit more out of position. Oh, we got him a little more, right? It's like they're just doing it again. But these guys are back into neutral. Even if he makes that, he's getting nothing. I'm not saying he shouldn't hit it. It seems like a pretty routine ball to me. But, yeah, just got to play better.
I think to add on to that point, you know, where you said where, like, when Regalado Salazar are on the baseline, you know, we saw it a couple of times from Jose Salazar where he's gone big. And to your point, it wasn't working. He hit the medium-pace ball and won the point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good ball. Just, again, perfect volley. And I've been working on this with Amin, but I haven't really got it through yet. But I feel like my PTI should go down after calling all these matches. I feel like it. I feel like I'm getting better.
Yeah, I hear
you watch enough,
understand.
you pass a course, your PTI goes down. It should be that way, right? That's just perfect pace. What a dig there from Powers. You can see how these guys change their grips, flatten their paddles. Those are two fantastic gets. 3. Now, if Nunez and Powers can do this to these guys after these hit all these perfect shots, this is perfect. But what I love they're doing now, they're just back to pushing it again. See, they're not continuing to do it. They're going to wait again. That's out. And he does force that one. The Nunez move. But at this stage, they got a lot more to work with, being so far ahead. But it's just a new match. Nunez Powers just got to right the ship a little bit. That's just an amazing drive off a big serve. I like that slower pace overhead.
I was going to say, and you mentioned it before, I think if you're Nunez and Powers at the net, that overhead of letting the ball drop lower and hitting more of like a low slice or a low slash has seemed to be working. I especially have liked it when Nunez has gone into the ad side corner. He's been able to get
like that one.
Like that one right there, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That was a great shot.
Be effective there.
There it is again. Very effective. And again, just great defense. And they're good. He just backed it out again. Let's just go slow for a couple.
And I'll tell you, Brad, as this match goes on, if you're Nunez and Powers, you can't, let this get too far ahead early on, because as the match goes on, we all know Regalado Salazar just gets stingier with giving away points and losing points. They become suffocating, and it's hard to win points off them.
Yeah, no question. They were definitely in their first season. It's been fun to watch these guys first burst on the season. And the first season they burst on, they came with that Herrick Bresser winning nationals, and they started it by playing in challenger tournaments, not even getting into a main draw. And then they really did have sort of a constrictor mentality, like, they just gave you nothing. And then when you got a little behind trying to force it, they still gave you nothing. So it was like they just didn't let you breathe. They gave you nothing. So they're just squeezing the life out of you. And then all you could think to do is try harder. And meanwhile, every time you take a breath and try harder, they're squeezing harder, right? And so you're just getting more suffocated. And before you know it, you're just dead, right? And they had that sort of constricted mentality. Now they've gone to like where they still can do that to a degree, but they have a lot more offense in the tank in terms of their front court pressure. Their ability to, that's ridiculous, those hands up there. Their ability to, just great job getting out of the way, to attack the nick and even hit a cut finisher once in a while.
And Brad, that's what makes teams great, when they're already kind of at the top of the game and they're continuing to improve.
Oh, these guys have, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh, what a lob. Great combo, follow with the blitz. Great defense. Oh, he's going to get lucky. He got lucky. There you go. Top of the net and behind him. They're laughing about it. He thought he was going to tag him. I think he might have been trying to tag him.
Another deuce point here, Brad.
Yep. 1-1 so far in the deuce games. That's going to do it for them as he moves forward, but Salazar sees it and punches it behind him 2-1 now
good
in the sudden death games for Regalado Salazar.
Good job of closing the net there and volleying it right back at Nunez.
Yeah, perfect.
Tell you, that's the one, shot that at this level, we used to see it a lot more and it was a little bit more effective. But with the skills that all the men and women players have now, you really have to be careful with that kind of mid-pace ball, because you saw there that Regalado Salazar were able to read it, step up, and they were able to stuff that volley back at Nunez, forcing a mistake, hitting a really good volley. So, it's a good shot when it works, but you just have to be careful. And, if you're getting teams that are doing a good job of reading it and stepping up and stuffing it, it could come back to haunt you.
Yeah, there's no question. It's still a part of the game and has a use in the game, but you got to be very judicious about it and smart with it. But it still can be a very good tool, and that's the shot that we want to see when they can get it. That is a perfect example of that heavy cutter into the snowboard there. That was amazing. Just the blitzing that these guys have shown, and in the quarterfinals, Regalado Salazar were doing that to Burish and Erdoya, who's a solid volleying team. They were just hitting it coming forward, and I would say they were running at a 90% clip, winning the points. Even when the other team hit a pretty good volley right back, the other team just stuffed them right back again. It was just phenomenal.
Brad, that quarterfinal was, I'm sure, not the result that Erdoya and Burish wanted, but it was good to see them out on the court again, playing together, making it into the quarterfinals of a Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's great to see Mick Erdoya back out on there. 2022 national champions, great team. The skill sets work well together. So it's fun to watch and see them back out here. And those guys, I think, even played their quarterfinal reprieve because they might want to pick up a few more points before nationals. They don't want to see Regalado Salazar if they can somehow sneak up the line in the quarterfinals. But, that's a team that could be reckoned with come nationals time as well. They play the next two Grand Prix, have a good result. See, there's another great shot, and that's a perfect example of the shot that we want to try to use as more, the long and through.
This has won the point on that shot the last 3 times he's hit it.
Yep. So, Dave, you all ready for the snowstorm?
I'm ready, just so that I'm trying to prevent it. So I went out and got 5 gallons of gas today. My snowblower is ready to work. So I'm doing everything I can to try to avoid having to use it and preventing snow.
I'm not sure that you have much say in it, but I'm glad you feel that you can affect that. The amount of snow
to do
coming.
My part.
You feel like if you prepare really well, the storm will just be afraid to come.
Yes.
They'll be like, what's the point? Dave's too ready for us.
The last 2 weeks we've had snow in New Jersey, and both times I had to go out to the shed and get the snowblower, and this time I said, you know what? I'm going to stop the snow. I'm going to put the snowblower in the garage.
There you go. Oh, misses that one. Didn't get quite behind it, kind of came over it. All right, so Nunez Powers staying even in this set.
And I think maybe Salazar saw Nunez kind of Powers closing the net on that, and maybe that threw his shot off a little bit. But again, that was good recognition by Powers to read the drive and be ready for the next shot if it happened to come over.
Oh. Goes for the.
That was a good look.
Yeah, it was a good look. And hit up on it. And again, just execution, we talked about that as being a major factor in this match, and it certainly has been. It's the same exact shot right there that he tries. Just the first one gets his range on the next one there.
And Brad, to your point earlier, we definitely don't want to see, and they don't want to change their game plan, Nunez and Powers, to drive less. That's a big part of their game, and I think they're going to go with the look or approach that you were talking about, where they know they're not going to miss X number more drives, so that's not going to deter them from driving. They just have to kind of get that range, get the feel, and dial it in a little bit.
Yeah, great mix and feel for what overheads to hit from Regalado Salazar. They go on a quick attack, and then all of a sudden they dial it back to slow again, then right back to the attack, then a quick little waterfall, then they don't get what they want. They wait for the right moment, hit at the crease. Just doing a perfect combo here and executing it very well. And Nunez and Powers can't get great looks. Like, they're getting looks, but they're not great looks. Like, they're looks, and these guys just close them off and volley them back.
I was going to say, and even when Nunez
that's a good look. See, there's a good look,
Yep,
right? That's
yep.
the first one, and he made a mistake there. The only mistake they really made in the point, and he hits it down right to the panel. Sometimes that's all it is. Keep hanging around till you get the ball you need.
And I was just about to say that, when Nunez and Powers were getting looks, the problem is Regalado Salazar was standing still, ready for the next ball to come.
Right.
And then, there you go to your point. Regalado hits that cross-court ball to the Nunez forehand, and now they're moving. They're not stationary, ready to volley that ball coming from Nunez.
That's some tremendous transition play and great recognitions from Regalado to stand in, trusting in the Salazar drive. He does get it lower than the net. It allows him to take the next volley out of there, and they hold the net or take it right back, basically. See, good slow ball. Even though he's going to get a drive there, it gives him time to get back. And even as good as Powers forehand is, he's going to get nothing out of that.
Tell you, Brad, if I'm giving Nunez and Powers a little bit of advice here from watching this match, the one thing I do think they have to pay attention to is that Regalado Salazar, every time they sense a drive opportunity, they're doing a great job of closing the net, crashing the net.
Right.
So if I'm, going to give Nunez Powers a little bit of advice, I might just tell him, when you get a couple of these drivable balls, you might have to hit one or two more lobs just to soften them up, because they're on top of the net and they're expecting that drive to come.
Yeah, I think it's a great advice. And there we got a forced error on the defensive side. Powers and Nunez doing what Regalado Salazar had been doing to them. They played good enough defense. Point lasts long enough, and finally Salazar backing up a little far away from the net goes for a hard angle that he can't make from there. Oh, that's a great cover there. Power sees going for the corner. He easily plays it off the neck, and that's a great lesson for club players as well. Everybody sees the ball going the other corner and they just stop play. If you see a ball getting towards the neck, call it out, look to help. It happens all the time.
Well, Brad, to add to that point, when you're the non-hitting player or the weak side player like Powers was there, he didn't even wait for Nunez to yell help. He saw that ball going into the nick, and he knew that if that ball shoots out sideways, that's his responsibility.
Yeah, and it's not like he was saying, you didn't say help. He knew it was coming. Right, yeah. Oh, great
You've
shot.
never heard that before, have you?
Oh, the door got open, and so you see what happened there is Regalado catches the ball. Door open, they're going to play a let here. As I'm not sure when it happened, it got slammed into. So do it over, but in the middle of that point, some tremendous transition stuff. Powers did a great off-pace early ball down, tracked down again by Salazar. These guys are so good. Footwork is perfect. moving back. Very few balls they can't track down.
I also feel like, early on in the second set, Nunez and Powers are lobbing a little bit better. They're getting the ball more to the center of the court. They're lobbing a little bit deeper. They're not working as hard playing the screens like we saw them in that first set.
Yeah, everything felt too forced in the first set, and they're not forcing as much right now. Wow, that's just amazing. Lob half volley and another one there, and as he makes the move up and he reads it perfectly, and he nets the ball.
He wishes he had that one back again. You see, there's a good, job of Mark Powers encouraging Nunez to, hey, that's your shot. Step up and hit it. In order for us to win this match, we need you to hit that shot.
Yeah, and absolutely. I don't fault that move at all. Like we said, it comes down to execution at a certain point. Just got to have to make it, but it was a great move. Ooh, slippery little shot there from Powers. Oh, beautiful waterfalls. He's going again. That one he's got. Switch. Now that'll open up the middle a little bit. Powers still, like you said, Dave, he's got a backhand. It's not non-existent. It's just not his forehand. But there's another perfect move. Can he track that one? Not that time. Great move, great switch, and somehow they got baited into that.
And I think that's a smart play by Nunez because he knows if Regalado were coming back at him, he has to hit the ball straight ahead. He can't get it to a side screen.
All right,
and,
sudden deuce now.
Yep, Nunez Powers with another game point.
Good play. Waterfall. Oh, killer. That was a big moment. It felt like there was a chance there. A couple of break points there for Nunez Powers. Lob out, and then they lose the sudden deuce there. So great hold from Regalado Salazar.
Yep. Brad, in honor of America's 250th birthday, Narragansett will be celebrating with a limited edition America 250 can. These 16-ounce and 12-ounce cans will be available this spring and summer wherever Narragansett is sold. And be on the lookout for the new Narragansett America 250 swag at www.narragansettbeer.com.
There you go. Narragansett, one of the great sponsors here at the Boston Open. 2-1 now, Regalado Salazar. And Nunez getting rid of a glove. Doesn't quite clear it far enough. Gets it to the snowboard now. Love 15. Ooh. Yes. Just uncharacteristic mistake there. Regalado Salazar giving up much less. I do think, Dave, that you made a good point before. Nunez Powers are playing a much better, type of set, how they're going for it, but they're still not executing. They're still missing some balls.
Right. I mean, they've had opportunities to, be up 2-1
or 2-1 right here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, blitz. Nice stinking blitz. Great hands from these guys. And the footwork from Salazar, just phenomenal. Oh! Chasing down. Beautifully done. Just so athletic. Make it look easy, but not that simple.
See Nunez really carving that ball up, and again with this cold weather, it's not as it's been effective, but normally we see a lot more. We see him getting a lot more out of that.
All right, this is Dankin. Powers he's trying to go right back at him, but he clips the net, and it's fantastic play. And you see how he put his paddle completely flat and hit it straight up, give him time to get out of there and make that get. So the biggest issue, too, is for Nunez Powers, and curious of your thoughts, Dave, is there a fast way out of this for Nunez Powers? I don't think there is. I think they just got to, grind this thing, start executing better. They're playing better points this set. They had a chance to go up 2-1. Didn't play the greatest point on that one there, but on that on that sudden death game. But there's going to be no quick way out of this. They just got to write this and then keep going it and sort of almost turn the match around, right?
Right. I think, right, they're going to have to turn this around slowly, point by point.
Right, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a moment.
No, and I don't think Regalado Salazar are going to let the pace change. They're going to still try to, impose the pace that they want on this match.
Right. And their defense is just too good. And it's like they know it, and they do know it. Meaning they know that if they go out in a binge and they make 4 or 5 errors, it's because they got off mentally, not because the other team just did too much to them. Oh, he popped it. You could see him reach out a little with his volley. And I think he did that because he stood in a little. Salazar stood in slightly, and I think it made him think he might blitz, and he just gave it a pop. Yeah. It wasn't the volley that was hard. It was the thought of the pressure behind it that made him kind of get the yips.
And again, to point out, in this second set early on, we've seen, and even in the first set, we've seen Regalado Salazar winning quite a few points with that half-speed ball.
All right, so score doesn't reflect it, but it's 3-1 now. There it is.
Brad, something I've noticed just after that point, there have been quite a few return of serves missed on the first point of several of the Regalado Salazar games when they're serving. And
certainly
to give them
Nunez, missing he's not on. He's missing that first drive a lot. So you're suggesting that he start to lob it just to say forget it?
I think he's got to do something to, start the point. Absolutely. You can't. Would any of the top players ever agree to go out and play Regalado Salazar with them serving up 15 love?
Yeah, correct. You can't spot them. I don't disagree with you. Powers has been pretty much solid with his return so far today. Not necessarily getting, a winner out of it or even a force, but not missing. Yeah,
right.
But not missing, and that's the real key is what you're talking about. Oh, that's a bad look there, but still gets him on the run.
Salazar.
Yeah, great volley, and he got him on the run, so it's not like Powers could easily spot it. He had a full running forehand there, which means he doesn't have really a lot of time to pick his spot.
Another thing that's interesting with this match is we've seen throughout the years Nunez likes stepping in, applying some pressure by moving forward, short hopping balls, driving balls, and blitzing. He just has to be careful at this stage of the match where maybe it's not the right play at the right time. And I think he as much as that's part of his arsenal, he really is going to have to pick and choose when to use it. See a good overhead there by Nunez.
Very good.
Yeah, Brad, at this level, hitting the overheads into the side screen off of one screen is, as we see that again.
Big look. I love that shot, and it's a good ball. Your brother kind of is the one who, Drew Broderick, going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
They going to allow you to give a speech there, Dave?
I don't know. They apparently said if I did, it had to be timed, and once the time is up, it's over.
They giving you the hook? Well, I think that's only wise. I wouldn't give you an open mic for any period of time. So,
they're bringing
and I'm
back
sure
the old
Drew. I'm sure your brother Drew wouldn't.
Well, maybe if the whole 5-hour speech was talking about him, he might let me.
But he's one of the first guys to really use that shot, that cutting overhead slash. It's essentially just a high drive, but you're doing it in an overhead fashion, and it's so totally viable in this game. It's funny. It makes complete sense, and it's like, why didn't anybody do it before? And he was kind of the first guy to do it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that when, Drew started doing it, I think his variation on speed and spin is what also made it so effective, because I think, when people would get that down-up overhead and be able to hit an overhead off of it, most of the time it was just done at like 500 miles an hour flat.
Right.
Where he was, he started varying the speed, swinging fast, hitting it slow with a lot of spin. So, you're starting to see more and more guys do that when they have the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think it's almost different, too, because the one you're talking about that they would hit hard and flat is really more like somebody's waterfalling you, and you're getting the opportunity. So you smash it, but you're deep in the court, so you smash it because you are deep in the court. He really, I would say he identified a completely different play off a completely different ball. Not a waterfall, but a simple down-up that most people would just try to hit with a regular forehand back in the day. And he actually got set up for the overhead on it and was looking for the overhead on it.
Yep.
So
it's almost like
very cool. And the funny thing about it is I use it now, and I didn't use it before. It didn't occur to me that way, and I'll definitely do it in spots. And as much as he had the Hall of Fame career with 4 national championships, he's also, brought in the staying back on your serve. He's instrumental in various ways, defensively, and in that one way, offensively. Really, that cutter shot was, his kind of contribution to offense. But he's the guy who revolutionized staying back on your serve.
Right. I think for so long, so many people thought that, it was kind of taboo to stay on the baseline. You had to get to the net. You had to get to the net. And, he kind of figured out, what? If we could win points from the baseline when we're returning, why can't we? Or
not lose them. Or just not lose them, right?
Right.
Instead of losing them right away on the first shot.
Right.
That's a tough look. Great hands from Powers. Another transition. Can they dig this out as well? Not that time. I mean, still another sudden death game that I really, for my money here, to me it's a must-win for Nunez Powers. They just need they just need some momentum. And then, again, to continue to execute better. And that time, Powers does not come up with it. Big moment on the big serve. And you can see Nunez starting to, he's grabbing his hand and pushing it open, closing. To me, when people are doing that, that's because they, are cramping a little.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
All right.
Well, Brad, we want to talk about another one of our sponsors, Aon Insurance. At Aon, our role is to help our clients make better decisions, from advanced analytics and AI to ESG leadership. We're investing in solutions that help enable growth and create long-term value. So thank you to Aon Insurance for being a part of this great event, the 2026 Boston Open.
Absolutely. Thank you to Aon, and I like it. It's good advice, Dave. Basically, Aon's telling you to make good choices, Dave.
Absolutely.
And I think any one of us could take that to heart.
Good choices are a must on the paddle court as well.
No question. And you know what's interesting about some of these sponsors is you really can see how, business values can align with success on the court.
Yep.
All right, so 4-1. And, we do talk about like the sudden deuce games, the sudden death games being sort of like turnovers in a football game. A team with more turnovers tends to lose. Right now it's 3-1. For Regalado Salazar in the sudden death games. So clearly using that to their advantage. Definitely is always a different story. When Nunez and Powers beat McNerney and Morgan, they just played those points so much better than those guys did. I think they got 6 games to 1. So there were 7 sudden death games, and they won them basically all.
And the ones in this match that Regalado Salazar have won, they've kind of come at big moments, and it's really kind of moved Regalado Salazar ahead quite a bit.
Yeah, the stat that blew my mind for the Regalado Salazar match in their semifinal against Grigorovic and Ostojic was the streak of points won. And it was a tight match in that first set. Grigorovic and Ostojic had a very real opportunity to possibly win that. But the streak of points won in a row from Regalado Salazar was 15. So they basically won like 4 games in a row without losing a point almost.
I was going to say,
it's a crazy stat.
Yeah, because Russell and I called that, and I was going to say, I want to say in the second set they had I thought at one point there was like a 17-point point streak.
Or maybe it was 17. Whatever the number was, nuts.
It was crazy. Yeah. When Grigorovic and Ostojic won a point, Tommy G actually raised his hands in victory in the second set there.
It's
but
funny.
No, Grigorovic and Ostojic, they were up 5-1. They had, they got to 30. They were 2 points away from the first set.
That's a tough shot to make from right there. And at a moment, that's like you're trying to get the match back in one shot.
One shot, yeah.
And as we said, there's no way that's happening. They got to just bear down where they want it to go. And it just right now, forces are working against them. And do you see any comeback here, barring somehow a letdown or a mental breakdown from Regalado Salazar?
No, I think this, they get a chance here. We get another deuce point. Let's see what happens here. But
yeah, 4-2 is a big difference.
It absolutely is. I still think it's a tall order. And there we talk about
taller order now, Dave. Taller order.
How many deuce points was there a missed return, and now a fault was thrown in there? And again, as far of a big of a lead as Regalado Salazar have in the deuce points, how many of them did they actually win? Look and see. How many unforced errors contributed to that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're making a great point.
We've been saying this for a set and a half now, where Nunez and Powers just have to clean things up, and I think when they go back and watch it, they're going to realize that we didn't really play all that bad. We just, made some uncharacteristic, unforced errors at the wrong times.
Yeah, what I will say, the one area that they got lost in is, though, they never pulled it back to a space where they were like, all right, look, they're giving us nothing, we'll give them nothing. Right. There was never a moment where Powers and Nunez gave them nothing. It got a little better, you and I both were saying, in the start of this set, right in the beginning. Then they lost that game at 1-1 that they could have gone up 2-1.
Yep.
And then it kind of fell right back into it. There's never a moment where they were grinding to this point where, they really gave him nothing. And, of course, all kudos to Salazar and Regalado for giving them nothing and giving them no room to work with, but it just never got there. And and that's why we're here, 6-2-5-1.
And you and I both know, again, it's a cause and effect game. And like we talked about, if, one team is not giving you the ball, the shot you want to hit, it's not there. I mean, you could talk about what you're looking to do. You could talk about what you want to do. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting the opportunity, it's just, you've got to figure out another way to create something.
I love Powers and Nunez, though. They are trying to switch and stuff. But great transition back. And again, a perfect move from Powers. And what Regalado Salazar has always done well is they don't play the shot that's hard for them to make. They just go back. They don't let you miss the volley. They don't let themselves miss the volley. I mean, you get ready to hit it. They think they don't have the advantage. They got zero chance of really consistently making that volley shot that Powers hit. And there's just an error. And now we're at match point here, three match points really with the sudden deuce. All right, I think Nunez is just going to pull the trigger, and that's it finished how it went. And great job there from, Salazar and Regalado, as good as it gets, giving them nothing, and just not firing on all cylinders, Nunez and Powers in this one. And as a consequence, 6-2, 6-1, great statement win for Regalado Salazar. Boston Open champions. Any thoughts, Dave? Let's get a court director's statistics here up. Let's take a quick look here.
Just to kind of add on to what you said, it was just a matter of some unforced errors, uncharacteristic. We see 65% of the points won by Regalado Salazar.
This is against Grigorovic and Ostojic. Let's move this one on. It's cool to see that 17-point swing that we were just talking about. See if we can get court director for Regalado Salazar. Nunez Powers. Nope, we can't get it. All right, court director is not giving us that. I think it's an angry chat box. AI jumping out of the box, not listening to its human makers. But, you don't really need the statistics, to be honest. They were up 5-1, I believe, in, or 4-1 in the non-deuce games. And it was just a function of just mistakes. And then once they kind of got down that rabbit hole and it got to a place where it was going to be a slog to get back in, they could never get it to that point. And they got no help from Regalado Salazar, who just didn't make errors.
Yeah, and I think that's a key factor that, everyone needs to understand is, I'm sure Regalado, I'm sure Nunez and Powers had a game plan. They were looking to grind it out there in the second set in the beginning. But again, if the other team's not giving you any mistakes or allowing you to create opportunity, it's kind of hard. And that's one of the things that Regalado and Salazar has done great since day one is they're smothering. They make it hard for you to win points.
All right, guys. Well, to all of you out there on the East Coast bearing down for the storm, if those you got who are basically in the Southwest dealing with some storms as well, everybody stay safe and sound. And that is a wrap here for the 2026 Boston Open APTA Men's Grand Prix. And join us for more paddle next weekend with coverage of the Indy Open Men's APTA Tour right here on the APTA YouTube channel. Dave, that was a pleasure.
All right, Brad, thank you. Pleasure joining you as always.
The business owners that I'm working with have entrusted.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Hey, this is Guillermo Nunez, and this is the tip of the week. In the push overhead, I like to create some offense by sometimes, depending on who I'm playing against, I hit the ball down into a service box, letting them bite a little bit, understanding that they could drive, and I'm gonna close the net as they're driving, knowing where the opening is, depending if I wanna speed the game up. When I decide to hit the ball down into the service box, I'm baiting my opponent to drive the ball, so I'm planning that. If I don't want that to happen, then I'm gonna reset straight deeper into the middle, and nothing happens. I'm Guillermo Nunez. I hope you enjoy the tip, and see you on the court.